A woman comes to work and sees a strange phenomenon, seawater dripping from the ceiling in the hallway. The moment she looked up, the pressure of the water burst through the walls. Laura immediately fled to the containment chamber, waking up her resting co-workers at the same time. The situation was completely out of control, but only she and Carter made it in, just as they were about to close the door. Two more co-workers appeared in the corridor, running towards them. Unfortunately, there was no time to lose, and after Carter's anxious pleas, Laura had to close the hatch through the scanner. We know that a 10-magnitude earthquake has just hit the bottom of the ocean, and 70% of the communication cables to the surface have been cut. The only way to survive is to find an escape hatch. Otherwise, no one will be left alive when the rig is destroyed. However, the interior of the base has collapsed so badly that the two of them have to crawl through a passageway and rescue Paul, who was buried underneath. The three of them continued to crawl through the rubble, and Laura was startled by the sudden appearance of bodies. However, when they managed to find the escape room, they realized that only the captain was sitting in the room and all the escape pods had disappeared. It turns out that the captain sent the survivors out first and then made a submarine escape after confirming that no one had survived. But then bad news came over the intercom, and the two men in charge of the inspection found that the submarine was inoperable. What's worse, the cooling tower at the core of the base was destroyed. Without cooling, the temperature of the nuclear power plant will rise rapidly, and in less than half an hour, this place will explode into pieces. They must find a way to get out of here. That's when the captain came up with an escape plan. First, take the elevator to the bottom of the Ocean 1. 6 kilometers, then through a connecting tunnel to a staging area to replenish oxygen, and finally walk 1. 6 kilometers to another rig to call for help. Although this plan is very risky, it's the only chance to survive. The men then went to the equipment room and put on heavy pressure suits and began to dive. But as soon as they entered the sea, Carter's helmet gave a crunch, followed by a crack in the glass visor. Laura saw what was happening and stopped them from opening the hatch. Unfortunately, it was too late. The moment the outer hatch was opened, Carter's body was crushed by the sea. The horror of the scene caused Amy to scream, and Laura's breath caught in her throat and her lips trembled. But there was no time to grieve, so they continued on as planned. When they reached the elevator, Laura couldn't stop blaming herself because her helmet was handed to her by Carter. He must have realized the problem with the helmet, but he still gave her the chance to live. Luckily, the captain came to comfort her in time to calm her down. However, as the elevator was descending, a distress signal was received on the monitor 200 meters below them. The captain thought it might be a survivor, so he sent Paul and Mike to rescue them. But in the end, only one body was found crushed and blown up. While Paul was trying to take away his colleagues' belongings, a monster suddenly came out and attacked them. Mike was prepared and shot him in time to save the day and get him back to the elevator.